Welcome back to Behind the Caution Tape. I'm your host, CrashLit. It's definitely getting to be a busy time at this point in the year as I am about to graduate. That's why, because this will be the last episode I wear as a USC undergraduate, I decided to wear my grad sash. So I'll have this on day in addition to what I usually wear, the caution tape and, my usual USC merch that I'm always repping regardless. So let's get into everything right now going on. So definitely been a busy week. Busy week last week. Then definitely a lot of postseason stuff coming up. So let's get into all of it right now. So football had a bit of news last week last week Lincoln Riley decided to part ways with Benny Riley, and on Friday, or a couple weeks ago, and then Friday announced the hire of Tremaine Carroll to replace him as the new director of football sports performance. And Lonnie Maddox has also been named the new associate director of football sports performance at the end of on Friday. And then bit of news from women's volleyball alum Kalia Lanier is made the USA women's national team for the 2025 Volleyball Nations tournament. So congrats to her. And also associate head coach Spencer McLaughlin was at the USA Volleyball National Team Development Program Spring Training Series from Thursday through Sunday this past weekend. Meanwhile, a bit of news from lacrosse. Congrats to both Alexis Niblock and Maddie Dora on earning USA All-American honorable mentions. So congrats to both of them. And then now on to the teams that are competing. But before that, congrats to USC alum Allison Felix on being named to the 2025 USC Olympic and Paralympic Hall of Fame class, which was announced last Tuesday. And then also congrats. And then also, before getting into the next stuff, Johnny Brackens Jr. won the 110-meter and 400-meter hurdle races at the Franson Last Chance meet hosted by APU in Azusa, California on Saturday to help him earn chances at qualifying for the NCAAs. Seemed like it was successful, but definitely best of luck to him in that. On to the team itself now. They have the Outdoor Big Ten Championships at Hayward Field. Those will run from Friday to Sunday in Eugene, Oregon. USC has an opportunity to recover after opportunity to make a statement and put themselves in position to do well and make the NCAA tournament. Rowing, meanwhile, is taking part in the Big Ten Championships on Saturday and Sunday in Indianapolis, and it's an opportunity for the team to position itself for success in the NCAA tournament. Men's golf, meanwhile, had day one of the Tallahassee Regional of the NCAAs that will run through Wednesday. So they came in 10th out of 14th overall. So they're right now 5 over par. Right now, 293 total score, and their lineup is Gavin Aurelia, Jack Buchanan, Jack Jergy, Antonio Safa, and Jaden Dumdumaya. So they're definitely looking to bounce back tomorrow on day 2. I'll bring you more updates on that next week. Women's golf, meanwhile, will after earning a fourth place finish and making the top 5 cutoff out of 12 teams in the NCAA in the Lexington Regional last week. That's good enough to advance to the NCAA Championships in Carlsbad from May 16th through the 21st. So best of luck to them. They finished with 2 over par with a total score of, or 7 under par, pardon me, with a total score of 857. So congrats to them. Bailey Shoemaker came in tied 8th overall. Catherine Park tied 9th. Kylie Chong also tied 9th. Jasmine Koo tied 30th. And Cindy Koo 37th. So they'll be taking part in the NCAA Championships in Carlsbad, California from May 16th through 21. Men's tennis saw their season come to an end, meanwhile, after a tough 4-2 loss to UCLA on Friday afternoon. So USC got the doubles point, and Connor Church was the lone Trojan to win his singles match. And then UCLA won 4 singles matches and singles play to give them the duel. So it brings their season to an end. Congrats to them on going 16-11 and having a great first year in the Big Ten and really having some solid and just really great results, especially at the end there, especially going down to USD and getting revenge against one of the best teams in the country. It's definitely a bummer not to see them get that 3rd win over UCLA, but still a great season and looking forward to seeing what these guys do next year. And then Another team had their season come to an end was women's water polo, who's the number three seed in the NCAA tournament. They will be the runner. They finished as the runner-up in the NCAA tournament and finished with a 29-5 record overall. So let's get into how that all went down. So round one, they beat Harvard 18-7 on Friday, with Emily Osmus and Ava Stryker leading with 3 goals each. And then the semifinal game the following day, they beat UCLA 15-13 with Tilly Kearns leading with 5 goals. And then the final they lost 11-7 yesterday against Stanford with Megan McInich leading with 2 goals. And then so let's break down each game in a bit more depth. So against the Crimson, USC started just strong and just dominated the game pretty much from start to finish. And it looked like just how USC has played against some of the teams that pretty much aren't from the MPSF and aren't Stanford, Cal, and UCLA. It seems they pretty much this year they took care of business against every team. Really, the teams that gave them trouble were those three. So just shows the MPSF's level of dominance in college in college water polo, not just on the women's side, but also the men's. It's really always those four teams. One of them's usually winning the title every year. And then against UCLA, it was a pretty back and forth game in the first half, and then USC had a monster third quarter that gave them the lead that they would hold on to for the rest of the game, but that was not before UCLA, of course UCLA wasn't going down without a fight to their crosstown rival. And UCLA made a furious fourth quarter comeback, but it wasn't enough to close on the lead that on the to close the gap on the Trojans. So USC was able to hold on for a 15-13 win against the Bruins. But against the Cardinals, a really defensive game for sure. Really low scoring too. And USC took a 3-1 lead after the first quarter, but Stanford tied it by the end 6-6, and then scored once in the third, and then just built a solid lead, outscoring USC 5-1 or 4-1 in the fourth quarter to win the national championship. So that's going to bring USC's season to an end. But still, though, I'm still extremely proud of this team. It's definitely like I know a lot of the players on this team, and they're such a great group. That's just so fun to watch. They play super hard for each other, and they're just super. Just it's great watching them play, and just I'm definitely excited. While I'm obviously sad not to see them get the national championship, I'm still extremely proud of this team, and just they're one of my favorite teams. They're such a fun team, one of my favorite teams to watch on campus, and just especially just with how competitive they are every game. You know, it's either they're killing the other team, which is just satisfying, I feel, or they're just in a great matchup with a school like Stanford or UCLA or Cal, and those games are also super fun to watch and cheer on USC. So best luck to this team next year. Hope to obviously make it out to some of those, but until then, fight on forever. Proud of you all. So our final sport today, and yes, this is kind of a shorter episode, especially with everything starting to wind down, will be baseball. So USC last week was ranked 25th for the first time of the year. For the first time this year, got ranked 25th and had 4 games this week. So it's definitely a bit of a tough week for the team. They lost. So on Tuesday, they lost 3-2 at UC Santa Barbara in the rematch from the game a few months back, 2 months ago. The Gauchos got 3 runs in the second, while USC got 2 runs in the top of the eighth. They just didn't score, weren't able to add any more to that, even though after Maximo Martinez pinch hit, it started to rally. It seemed like things were going to maybe turn on, but just wasn't enough to close the deficit. And then USC dropped their first series since they got swept by Oregon back in early March, as they only lost 2 or 3 to Michigan State at Great Park over the weekend from Friday to Sunday. And definitely still just definitely is a tough series, but credit to Michigan State, they played hard. So let's break down each game. So they lost 5-0 on Friday, lost 15-5 in 8 innings, getting run ruled on Saturday, and then won the finale 10-3 yesterday. So in game 1, it was definitely a tough start with Caden Hunter and Grant Cavell Caden Hunter having a tough start on the mound, and then Grant Cavell giving up 2 home runs, and USC surrendering 5 runs in the first 4 innings. USC only got 2 hits during the game, and while the pitching did get better, USC's pitching got better, wasn't enough. And credit to Michigan State starter Joseph DeZira, who looked really good on the mound for MSU in his 7 innings of work and just completely shut down USC's offense. Game two, which was senior day, so it's definitely cool to see seniors get their honors, and especially one guy I do want to highlight who hasn't really gotten to play much over the last year, who hasn't played at all this year, but has still, been someone who's stuck by this team for all 4 years, has been Fisher Johnson, who, and I feel like I should have known this just having followed this team so much, but it hit me that Fisher is like the only Trojan who's been here all 4 years who hasn't either left early for the MLB or transferred elsewhere. But so fight on to Fisher, man. Proud of you for sticking through it through thick and thin. So wishing you the best of luck with everything, man. But after that, it was definitely another tough day. Caden Aoki struggled on the mound, and then USC ultimately got run ruled after being down 10 runs after 8 innings. If a team is up, Big Ten rules dictate that if a team is up 10 runs after 7 innings or later, the game's over. So that's how the run rule applies. So USC definitely having another tough day on the mound. But game three, USC turned it around, struck first, and scored all 10 of their run, scored really early against the Spartans in game three. So yeah, definitely having a busy first 5 innings, getting 2 runs in the first, 4 in the third, and 4 in the fifth. So really keeping busy early. And then the pitching was much better. Especially, I was really impressed with Mason Edwards coming in for 3 innings of work and had 5 Ks. And then Grant Cavell had 2 solid innings, 2 strikeouts. And then also 2 other guys offensively who impressed me were Braden Dowd and Jack Bassier, who each hit home runs. And just USC almost run ruled MSU, but the Spartans did get 2 runs in the seventh and 1 in the eighth to avoid it. And then Brody Purcell came in and finished the job in the top of the ninth. So ended the series on a right note, on a good note, but definitely still not the way you want to see it go. So USC now sits at 33-18 on the season. They are 17-10 in Big Ten play. So they sit in fourth place. They fell out of the top 25 today, but will be in the Big Ten tournament, and they could be as high as the 2 seed or as low as the 6 seed, depending on how things go. As I mentioned, their 8-game winning streak has been snapped. But up next, USC will face CSUN, or was supposed to face CSUN tomorrow night at LMU for their final home game. But due to scheduling complications, that game is now off. So that ended up making the final game against Michigan State actually the last home game, which did happen to be Mother's Day. And I was fortunate to go. My mom was up for going. So, Mom, I do want to say this to you, actually. Thank you so much for making that part of your day yesterday. It was so much fun spending the weekend with you at home, both going to chalk and then doing yoga with you and then going to that baseball game. I know it was hot, but it was really fun to just have you there and just for making it part of your day. And just especially now that I learned shortly after getting back to LA after that game on Sunday that was the final home game of the season. It means a lot that you were up for making that happen. So thank you so much, Mom, and fight on. But so yeah, and then so because of that, that was USC's final home game against Michigan State. So, and if everything goes according to plan, USC will be back on campus in the new Dato Field in 2026. So super excited at some point to go and check out that stadium. Actually, had to sneak a peek at it a few weeks ago as I was coming back from a photo shoot and when I was skating, I was able to kind of see in there. So it was kind of cool to just see the progress of it. And then obviously when I spoke with Kevin Takeuchi, he spoke really highly about how nice the field is and how it's a bit more hitter friendly than it was previously. So because USC won't be playing CSUN, and that's partly due to scheduling complications, but even with that, I see why they want. I see other positive reasons to not play that game, even though it would have been nice to get one more game in before I officially graduate. I mean, might wind up going to some postseason Big Ten stuff, but just got to see how it all shakes out. But with CSUN game due to the RPI, USC somehow loses that one. It doesn't really help them. It could sink them considerably, and if they win it, it doesn't really help them. So not that. And then besides, also it was a tough weekend on the arms, especially with both Cade Hunter and Cade Naoki not really having great starts. It definitely caused the bullpen to be relied on a bit more by the team, so helps rest the arms, especially also because the UW series, which I'll get into right now. Sorry for kind of like teasing it and then kind of going away from it. Especially because the UW series starts on Thursday and runs through Saturday. It's helped them give, I think, an extra day to prep for the Big Ten tournament, which will start Tuesday, although could be starting as late as Wednesday or Thursday, depending on USC, could be depending on where they get seated. So because of that, as much fun as it'd be to get one more game in, I'm okay with that final Michigan State game being my last regular season game as a college student. Just kind of crazy to think about, actually. But on to this UW series. So USC will face Washington, who's currently in tied fifth for the conference. They are 27 and 25 overall, but 15 and 12 in conference play. So UW's found a way to just really just grit their way through this Big Ten and really put themselves in a position to possibly make the NCAA tournament. So I think this is definitely going to be a series that USC can't overlook. And I think obviously that Michigan State series, that was definitely a tough series to watch, but I think USC is going to walk out of there just no smarter, no better team because of the fact that they know that they can't underestimate anyone, especially like a team like Michigan State. So USC's got to come into Seattle, take care of business against a Husky team that's also looking to position itself well for the Big Ten tournament. And USC, as I think I mentioned, can be as high as the second seed or as low as the sixth seed. So USC's got to come ready to play against the Huskies. We're also looking to end the season on a strong note. And then if USC has a good week, they could possibly be ranked again and just really set themselves up well for the NCAA tournament, which hopefully everyone's hoping we're close to home. So that way, because I'd love to, keep going to games so I can for as long as possible, especially while, still figuring everything out. But so that's pretty much everything going on sports. So last week I went 1-2 at the games I went to, which was just the baseball series against MSU. And so that puts me at 99 and 37 on the season, and 310 and 117 all time, and 16 and 10 at baseball this season. So this week, because of graduation and everything, I currently don't, and just that was being the last home game, I currently do not have any plans to go to anything this week. I know that seems crazy to hear from me, but it's kind of how it is right now with everything. I may wind up going to the Big Ten tournament, but I'm just going to see how everything goes and announce it all next week as I start to, things start to become clear and all that. So that's going to do it for everyone. That's going to do it for us here at Behind the Caution Tape. Thank you so much to everyone who's been liking, commenting, subscribing, following this podcast. It's been a ton of fun to do all year. We're not going to be done, I promise. We're going to keep going. As long as USC teams are still competing, I'll keep doing episodes every week, and definitely still we'll look to get some more features and guest interviews on the show too over the next few months. So thank you everyone who's been subscribing. It means the world to me. So yeah, it's the final episode though, why I am still a college student. Like I said, that's why I wore the sash today. So thank you again to everyone for your support over this past year. This has been super fun. Make sure to follow me at CrashLit on social media. Be sure to check out my website, crashlit.com. I'll see y'all next week. Fight on.